Okay, we're live for a whole 11 seconds. We've been live. I am, of course, still struggling with all the technology. I'm going to mute. I'm going to connect to. All right, I'm connected to my earbuds. So that's supposed to help with. Hi, no one's watching yet. You haven't missed anything. I'm going to go back to where I invited myself as a guest. I'm backstage. My mic is muted. And it is me, Liz, from Liza Jane Designs here in the shop in Afton, 3121 St. Croix Trail South. It is a beautiful sunny day here. We got snow. Geez, I think it was yesterday, just yesterday we had snow, but it melted, it's gone. I'm sure there'll be more soon, but we are back here. Jill could not be with me. She's not doing super well right now, so I'm struggling on my own. But we are going to get back to this project that we started up a few weeks ago. I want to do a bit more on this with you guys watching. I'm going to try to put myself, so let's make this one little. So here I am talking to you, and here is the bigger image, because I think this is what we're really here to see, right? If we want to get a rundown, I have a viewer. Hello, viewer. Thank you for joining. This is a 24 by 24 inch plywood board. You can see the ply right here. And the background was done with some neutral decoupage papers. I used the Roycycle Treasures Urn stencil onto one of Royce's beautiful patina rusty decoupage papers. So I used a rust kind of colored paint and stenciled that onto the decoupage paper that had this beautiful texture, applied that to the board, and then started in with Iron Orchid Designs mums, chrysanthemum stamp. So all of that is done. We did some masking, we painted in white, some watercolor, and now I feel like it's time to add more leaves and greenery and maybe some wheat or something like that. And that's what we're going to work on today a bit. I'm going to get this camera angled for the best view. And thank you guys for joining me, whether you are here live or if it's the replay. I appreciate you, and give me some feedback. Let me know you're here either live or on replay. We did a quick little rundown of what I've done so far. So where I am now is adding leaves and wheat and that kind of stuff. So I've got my IOD stamps all organized to keep myself straight in these pockets that I just love. So here's all the chrysanthemums. I don't know if I'm going to use those leaves or if I want to use other leaves. I'll share some cheat techniques I use to make the job, I don't know, funner for me. I've got, I'm going to use leaves from the peony. I just like the way they're shaped. Not seeing them very well in that background, but here is the peony leaves. We're going to set those around. I'm probably also going to use wheat from the pumpkin from the Harvest, gosh, what is that one called? Fruitful Harvest. So I have Fruitful Harvest right here, and many, many of those stamps. I think this is a beautiful fall leaf. We've got gorgeous examples of this out in our world here right now in Afton. And I don't know, I'm liking how they look. Maybe no acorns, but I'm liking this sleeve and I'm liking this sleeve. So I think I am going to, I'm going to cut, as I've seen other people do. I enjoy cutting the stamps right on the backing. I have scissors here. You always think you have all your stuff, but invariably there's a thing that's slipped away. So I'm going to see if I've got them over here. I'm still here with you. I'm just not in front of the camera at the moment. I don't know, you guys, I'm not finding my scissors. So, you know, we punt. I'm very good at reconnoitering from the start here. We are going to rifle through the drawers a bit. And I'm just going to use it on here, I guess. Here's a tip and a trick I want to show you. I have done lots of stamping of the various mums here. And I could mask these out individually, but I don't have that many of this mask. So what I'm going to do, because I have this big, massive design now, is I'm going to grab a piece of tissue paper. And this is just like gift wrap tissue paper. It could be art supply tissue paper if that's what you have. I just want something that I can see through. And I'm going to lay it on top of my floral design here. And I'm going to kind of give it a quick trace and then somehow tear or cut it out. But I'm going to trace around this design. Can you see under there? So I'm making one large mask to cover so that when I come in here to stamp my leaf designs, the leaves will look like they're popping out from behind the floral arrangement. They won't be sitting on the top. They'll be behind. And this is like a quick way to get all those pieces masked. I have to say the tissue paper, you know, sometimes ink can go right through it. So we want to be aware of that when we're doing our stamping. And I'm being kind of loose with this. I don't mind a little overlap, but we're getting this one big shape of the flower arrangements. It's very difficult to cut things out without scissors, isn't it? Unbelievable. Just had a pair here. I swear I did. So I'm going to do the decoupage trick where we take a little paintbrush and we cut this out with water. Always away, you guys. Always away. Hello, person who's viewing. Welcome. This little trick with paper and water, we're just going to trace around and loosely tear so I have a giant mask to cover my floral design before I start. What do I want to say? Before I start stamping the leaves, this is my mask. It is, I think, a slick way to cover a big area. It would be slicker, you guys, if I remembered my scissors. but I don't want to leave you here alone while I run upstairs. So we're going to chat amongst ourselves. Good morning, Royce. Thank you for joining me. We're back on the mixed media piece we started several weeks ago, and man, lots happened in my shop since we started this. We've had a fall festival. We had a more than a yard sale selling furniture at our home last weekend. We've had a wedding. You know, life keeps marching on, and we keep just plugging away at our arts and crafts and mixed media. If it weren't for the ability to kind of kick back and create sometimes, I would lose my last marble. So I'm very grateful that you're here with me today and we can keep working on this guy. So you see how I'm getting this big shape as a mask, and I'm trying to go quickly so you don't have to watch me cutting this for long, but we could talk about, hello, Sherry and Donna. It's my friend Pockets. So good to see familiar names and have my friends here with me. So we're going to kind of keep coming around here. Giant mask. I hope you can see the benefit of doing this kind of thing when you've got a giant area that you've stamped out and painted. So I think it's going pretty quickly. So this tissue paper is much, much lighter than, say, the recycled papers that we like to use that are 18-pound papers. This is very, very light and flimsy. So when I go stamping over it, I'm going to make sure that my inks don't penetrate through too much. We're just coming in here and getting that all out of the way. So my husband is on a quick trip to Texas. Well, not so quick. He's doing some hurricane recovery work. He'll be going to Florida maybe tomorrow to work on that. So he left a couple of days ago, and he's sweltering in Dallas, Texas, while we haven't had to shovel any snow, but we had some snow yesterday. And I don't know, it's pretty to wake up to, but I was glad to see it all kind of melt away. There's my big mask. So we're seeing that. Instead of individual masks on top of here, I am going to just keep this in place. I have, you know, if I missed a little area, I can kind of cover it over as I'm working. But I'm going to go ahead and stamp a bunch of leaves in this composition. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just applying ink to the stamp. I'm going to do it off of my project because I don't want to get messy. And I'm going to just stamp this over my mask. Now, I'm holding it up a bit here on this tissue paper because it is so fine. I don't want the ink to seep through. But there I have that, and it's behind, right? Masking is such a simple but powerful design tool so that we build up a really pretty composition. I'm going to have this leaves going up over there. So can you see that I'm not pressing down on the tissue paper? If it hits the tissue paper like that, it'll leave a little bit of a mark, but it's not going through to the other side. So we've got beautiful leaves coming out pretty naturally there. I'm going to use this one a few more times all around and just keep at it. Let's see, I think sticking out up here. There we go. I mean, are you seeing that in the design? So we've got these leaves peeking out from behind the mums. Put the big mask back in here. I'm going to try to go with odd numbers. So I have 3. I'll do some over here and some sticking out the top. And I like this trick with the tissue paper for masking out big areas. So hopefully you will agree that's worth the price of admission today. It's my free tip 101. I see somebody's enjoying my humor, so thank you for that. Just stamping, masking and stamping. And we're going to use some white chalky paint. I would use gesso if I had it, but I don't have any in the shop. So I'm going to use, I'm going to stop with that. We have 5 of that. Let's use a different leaf shape now. I'm going to spread that, cover that. This is very, I don't know if it's a maple leaf or I think it's maple and this is oak. All I know is I'm seeing a lot of these on the trees and they're gorgeous right now. I grew up in New England where I gotta say we have a lot more bright red trees in the fall, but here in Minnesota we've got gorgeous pinks and golds, and I love the trees that are like ombre, right? The ombre trees that have yellow and orange and red all in one, and they're just the best. All right, I'm going to put one of these mapley leaves over here. And a mapley leaf at the top, I think. At some point, I think I want to grab the wheat shafts that are from the pumpkin stamp, the Fruitful Harvest. So covering a little bit more right there, letting that guy. So this is what we've got, right? We are stamping over our giant mask, letting that dry. And I'm going to take the white chalky paint and again paint over these. I'm going to leave the veins showing out a bit so I know later where I'm going. Just going to put some paint on the back of this stamp. All right. Anybody with me? Sherry, your maple. Yeah, the maple trees are just gorgeous around here too. And our squirrels are stocking up. I hope it's not because they know it's going to be a long, cold winter. I hope they're just very well prepared squirrels. They're like Boy Scout squirrels and they want to be ready in case. So I am, if you can see, let me see if I can bring this camera a little closer to where I'm working. It's always hard for me to figure that part out. Here's my brush. Here's, I don't know. There we go. There's the leaf. So I am just adding white paint, and I'm not worried too much about covering up the inside lines. But I always like to make my marks in the direction that the leave's going. So when I start adding the watercolor later, it's got a nice direction to go in. And just the overall shape is what I want to have, right? I'm going to leave some of that background showing through because it's like the brown of an autumn leaf, a little crusty on the edges. And we'll come over here if I can find this one. And the same thing. This is one of those, I think maple. Sherry, you know plants better than I do. Is this one a maple? I think this one is a maple, and the other very fall shaped one like this. No, that might be, no, that is the maple. I don't know. Maple and oak. Oaks are the ones with the acorns, right? So can I tell you a story? I'm going to tell you a story. Uh, my daughter is staying with us for a bit, and she has a large, beautiful dog who's staying. And the dog loves to go out in the yard, and she chases squirrels. I've got a loft studio over my garage because I am just a very fortunate person that way. And Quinn is the dog. She went running after a squirrel the other day, chased it up the deck, where the squirrel quickly just flew from the deck into a giant tree. And the look on the dog's face was like, where'd she go? Where'd she go? And she was just looking in the sky and in the trees and on the ground. And she could not, for the life of her, figure out how that squirrel just disappeared. It was a disappearing flying squirrel. We have those in Minnesota. Sherry, you guys have those in Iowa? I definitely still am hoping to come down to see you, Sherry, before the snow flies for real. The snow we had yesterday was just a warning snow. It was saying, hey, if you're going to do something, Elizabeth, you better get out there and do it now because the for real snow is coming soon. I think it would be about I don't know, 5 or 6 hour drive from my place to your place, Sherry. And from what I've seen of Butternut Hollow, it definitely is worth a trip. So are we seeing this where the white area now is the leaves, just filling out this design? I'm going to put this back on its mount and just continue. I'm kind of just blotching the paint because I want a little bit of texture in it. When I start putting the watercolor over, and I'm going to use watercolor paint today, you could also use watered down chalk paints or acrylics or, craft paints, inks. You just get a slightly different effect depending on the medium that you use. So I love the look of watercolor. I did use that in these flowers. And I'm just getting the white areas of these leaves. This project has been super fun. I mean, it's gone on for weeks, but just in little bites, right? It wasn't anything too difficult. It was just kind of stepped out from doing the background to stamping the flowers, creating that urn with that beautiful Recycled Treasures rusty paper. Ah, yes, the beauty of masking for sure. It is. I mean, it's simple, but powerful, right? It just takes your compositions from to like, whoa. And I love the surprise of it too. I mean, I know, we know what we're doing. We're covering it up. It's gonna, but every time it happens, I'm like, whoo, that's cool. So it's good. I am easily impressed with anything art related and colorful and whatnot. So I've got all of these leaves painted in. We're going to need to let that dry. I do not think I have a dryer down here. So in my shop space, I'm downstairs in the retail space, which is a nice tidy little spot where I have all of my transfers and stamps and molds and decoupage papers. My friends Jill and Brooke upcycle jeans and flannels. So we have all that kind of stuff in here too. But upstairs is the workshop space, and that is the space that has all the tools. So that's where the scissors are. That's where all the dryers are. So for now, what I think I'm going to do, we're going to set this aside to dry because I want to get started on another fun little project. I'm going to put this on the easel. So here it is over here. I'm going to put it on the easel behind me. Whoops. There we go. And we're going to bring out our fall plastic table cover and one of my decoupage pumpkin shapes. So this guy is big. I love his shape. He's very bumpy. He's got a nice sized stem on him. And I don't know what these are, but these individual rounds are just really awesome. So I have been doing make your own pumpkin, kind of a on the spot workshop here, where people can either come in as a group and, you know, work on pumpkins together. I do hot cider, and you can bring whatever you want to bring to add to that cider if you are so inclined, but we'll have some little snacks and cider, and you can make your own pumpkin. So I am going to work on this guy with some of Royce's gorgeous papers. Again, I'm using DIY Big Top, and the papers that I have chosen are all kind of industrial, or this is the owl, the beautiful watercolor owl that I just have scraps left from somebody who made a Lazy Susan the other day. So we're going to, while our mums dry over there, we're going to do a little pumpkin decoupaging, and I want to invite anybody who's here in the local area to come on in and make your own pumpkin. Or if you are more inclined to do so, you can, I've done lots of sample pumpkins, and they are for sale. So we've got examples of pumpkins that have been done with paint inlays, and we have pumpkins that have been done, you know, painted with salt wash and then transfers added. I did paintable transfers on one. I love to combine all the things. Lexi Grenzer's paper, unique floral. I had just lots of little bits of that left over and created it just looks like a beautiful hand painted pumpkin, because it includes just lots of elements from that paper. But then in the end, I added dots and like doodling, and I'll show it to you before we go off. So it's just so fun to mess with all the supplies in all the different ways. No magic here, just pressing the paper onto the pumpkin segments, trying to get out the wrinkles, but I like some of the wrinkles. I think it makes the pumpkin look leathery and awesome. So not too worried. I do want to cover all his, it's a guy pumpkin, I guess. I'm going to cover all this guy's segments with neutral colors. Looks like I tore that a little bit, but that is okay. We'll just take some off of here and stick it on there. This is a very forgiving kind of a project. So if you want to come in and do one here in Afton, you know, what's nice about doing one in studio with me is you kind of get to choose the papers. The price of making the pumpkin includes all the supplies. So you can use lots of different papers and just, you know, the amount that you need to get it done. You don't have to have the 25 varieties yourself. I let you use my things. I'm very grateful that my mom and my sisters, and they taught me how to share, because that comes in handy here in the studio. There we go. We are just smoothing that out, smoothing it out with a brush with my finger. And I'm going to tear down this way. Just keeping that guy going. I don't like too much of an overlap, so I feel like in the divots here is where the shadow would be and where it's gonna be darkest. So overlapping some papers here, totally okay with me. Got that guy going, tear off around here. And what I do with these pumpkins is that guy's on. I'm going to come around. I'm going to skip a segment and do a new one. I'm going to use some of this. Ooh, I love the owl paper. I just love the colors in it. This one has text. I'm going to bring the text up towards the top. Got a pretty small brush. We use what we have. It's very freeing, I think, to just use what you have. Pressing that into the pumpkin crevice, coming up around here. And I'm going to tear off and just kind of work that down. The fun of these is in the patterns and colors. At least that's the fun for me, is choosing papers that really speak to me and making a pumpkin that it's definitely going to be unique and one of a kind. So yeah, I've got all the supplies. I have what I'm calling a pumpkin salad bar in the studio space upstairs, so that you can choose all the dribs and dabs and leaves. I have leaves, and I have other adornments. If you are so inclined, you could make yourself some air dry clay acorns. There is no end to the fun you can have with a paper mache pumpkin, right? Loving these colors. I hope that comes out clearly in the video. And just layering them on. I don't know. I like the drip coming this way. I'm going to just do that instead. Don't want to overthink any of this, but I'm just doing what feels right for the design and moving on down this pumpkin segment. So I'm going to end up using a whole bunch of these gorgeous kind of industrial. This is a project block paper. So the lettering is smaller than when we have a whole big sheet of this. So coming around here, we'll actually be able to read some of the words. I'm just going to tear that. It's definitely an organic process for me. Just getting the medium on. I use my hands a lot. You guys use your hands a lot. I should wear gloves. I have some in my back pocket, but I don't have any on my hands. Just gonna push that down, make sure it's sticking. I like the roughness on this particular pumpkin shape. So this is how I roll. I just use my hands, spread that on. You can use a brush. You can use a credit card to smooth, as long as you're careful not to tear too much. But I'm just smoothing out those wrinkles as best I can and getting beautiful texture in here. This guy tore, not a problem. I can use some inks or dark and decrepit or something like that to colorize that so it's not a big white crack. It will be a crack, but it will be darkened up, so it'll look like a natural crack that occurred in this beautiful organic pumpkin. So I'm gonna tear from over here, keep that guy down, and I'll just keep working away at this. I'm gonna check our leaves. Our leaves are still wet. We're not ready to do watercolor painting on those yet. So I'm gonna keep working at this while that dries. This is also how I roll in my part of town here. Is I like having many projects going at once, because then I pretend I have patience while I wait for things to dry. But it really is not patience. It's jumping ahead to something new, because I don't know, because that's what I do. When I've got something to a point it has to dry, then I just move on to something else and get distracted and lost in that. And then I do the same over and over until I've got a million projects going at the same time. But eventually, I swear to you, 98% of them do get finished. Sometimes they turn into a wholly different thing than what they started as, but they come to a conclusion. So that happens. I don't know. My mom taught me not to be wasteful, I guess. So I give myself some grace in how long it takes me to finish things, but eventually I get back and I do. So here's what we've got, right? We've got what's this one? The owl paper, the trolley paper, some of this guy, which is one of the master boards, I think. So I'm going to keep at this. I don't know that anyone's learning anything new. If you've worked with these decoupage tissues, you know the fabulous designs that Roycycle Treasures has blessed us with. And there are so many that just lend themselves to gorgeous fall pumpkins. These golden colors. Bricks. Where do I want to put the bricks? I think I might put the bricks over here close to my owl stuff. Hello, Miss Jenny. So my friend Jenny has just come into the shop. We're gonna work on a project she started a bit ago that is a rug using canvas drop cloth, and we use the Cubano stamp and just made this really cool. I'll show you a picture of it later on the page, you guys. So Jenny's here to work on that. Jenny, I'm just doing a little bit of a live video. I try to do a live video on my page at 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Sometimes they're interesting and other times they're just, you know, an exercise in discipline and making sure that I'm getting used to doing this on a regular basis and coming through when I say I'm going to come through. That's important to me, that if you're a customer or a friend, if I tell you, I'm okay. If I tell you I'm going to do something, that I know I'm going to try my darndest to make it happen. So last night, I will tell you something that Jenny and I made happen. Jenny is my friend and neighbor and customer here for Iron Orchid Designs. She's also my neighbor. And she, like me, loves the Brussels sprout. So last night, Jenny and I went and had a really nice, I don't know, I'm going to say intimate dinner, but it was, you know, like friendly, intimate, quiet. We could have a nice conversation, and we ordered the best stuff. If you guys are local, anybody watching is from around here or going to be in the area, Phil's Terra Hideaway in Stillwater, Minnesota. They just have the best food. And Jenny and I ate Brussels sprouts that were like cooked with blue cheese and bacon. Bacon makes everything better. So we had that. And then we shared a truffle burger with all sorts of mushrooms. And we had some hazelnut crusted walleye, which is like the state fish of Minnesota, I think. This place is amazing, you guys. They kind of have a bit of a Greek. One area of their menu is all Greek. So they got a baklava on the menu that's pretty darn good. But they do like Athenian potatoes, and that means they fry them nice and crispy and put feta cheese on them. And I tell you, it's a glorious place to be. The leaves are gorgeous. The food's delicious. Brussels. Jenny and I, anybody still watching here? Do we have any fans? Yes, Donna, walleye is king. Jenny and I are going to make it our mission in the next several weeks to identify the very best Brussels sprout dish in the St. Croix Valley. We last night tried the Brussels sprouts at Phil's Terra Hideaway. Definitely high marks. They are fabulous. But I know of at least 3 other places within a 2-mile radius or 4-mile radius, I guess, that serves Brussels sprouts in awesome ways. So we have a restaurant down the street called The Current. They make truffle sprouts. So they also have truffle fries. If you're not a Brussels sprout person and you want to try their truffle fries, those are great. But the truffle sprouts are definitely my jam. So Jenny said she would pick the place we're going to try today based on how good their desserts are. So we're going to find Brussels sprouts and a good dessert to have for dinner later. All right, how's that looking? Can you see? Yeah, this owl paper. I just love the watercolory look of it. And, you know, just seeing the color, I know it's the owl. It doesn't look like an owl anymore. It just looks like gorgeous fall colors. And that is cool. That's why I never throw away scraps. They make wonderful additions. So this big top that I'm using is not getting too sticky. Thank you, Debbie's Design Diary, for giving me a decoupage medium that I can use my hands in that doesn't make me horribly sticky and messed up. Okay, I think that's good. this piece is too pretty to waste down there. I'm going to take a little of it here, and I'm going to save that pink for somewhere else. All right. So I'm just going to keep going around this pumpkin. We've been on for 45 minutes. Donna, how do you like your walleye? I love deep fried walleye with a beer batter, that kind of thing. But I love those nut crusted, like pecans, or it was hazelnuts last night, hazelnut crusted Parmesan. Ah! So good. I'm going to keep at this. You guys, I will post my creations on my website and on my Facebook page for sale. But what I really want to see happen is y'all make your own pumpkin. So get to your recycled person, or get to me, and I'll ship you some papers, and start decoupaging your own gorgeous holiday. You know, pumpkins keep on giving. They're not just for Halloween. They are for Halloween, for Thanksgiving, right up until I put up my Christmas tree. We got pumpkins all around. And I do love these industrial kind of designed papers for the win. They give I don't know, just kind of a little edgy look to the pumpkins, right? Hello. Hi. We have another friend visiting while we're live on video. Oh, awesome. Yes. I mentioned that my friend Jill, who is often here with me, couldn't be today because she wasn't feeling well. So I'm doing my video all on my own, but thankfully I have friends. Ooh, fried, yes, and love it anyway. When you get a nice fresh walleye, I don't know, you can't go wrong. So I am going to keep putzing at this. I don't know that I'm going to stay online with you this whole time, because I don't think I'm really showing you anything at this point that you don't already know. But I always love just hanging out with you and visiting. And I find it very comforting just to get my hands dirty and involved in this kind of a fall project. Here's where we are. I think it's looking fabulous. I really do. Because we've got great choices and papers. And I'm going to keep at it, you guys. I'm going to check our other project to see if I can get back to that for a little bit. Here we are, off the easel, back on the table. And this was the first sleeve that we painted white. I think it is ready for a little bit of watercolor. So I am just going to take out my little tin of watercolor paints. And this brush is kind of big, so I'm going to reach in my drawer. And hello there. How are you? I'm going to reach in my drawer and grab a smaller brush. Get a little water going here. I don't know what color. I definitely want some contrast to be here with the flowers. So we're going to kind of be using some greens and browns and just laying in the color for the fall leaves. I always try to remember with watercolor, just kind of let the water move the color around, just dot the color in and let it blend on the paper. Well, this isn't paper, this is wood. Let it blend on the project. Because it's fall, we're going to throw a little red in there. And the red and the green makes brown, which, you know, the leaves get that way. But we're going to have some splots of red and yellow. Joop, joop, just like that. Jenny, what do you think? Pretty good? Need a little more yellow in there, I think. Let's go some yellow down in here. Yeah. And don't try to do it all at once. That's what I have to remind myself. Do a layer, let it dry, add some more color. Because if I try to do it all at once, I end up with kind of a muddiness that I don't enjoy. I do know that this will make brown, but before it makes brown, it's going to leave a little bit of red splotching. So pushing that out, splattering a bit. There's our leaf, which adding the leaves around the edges here in browns and greens is going to fill this out really nicely, I think. This one's dry. I'm going to do one more before we sign off today. I'm just putting down some water, and we're going to go with some yellow, and then this kind of red to, I want to contrast with the flowers. I don't want them to blend in too much. Let's see. Okay, green. Just putting all those colors. So I have people in my shop right now whispering about Brussels sprouts. I don't know. What kind of place is this? Brooke, are you a fan of the Brussels sprout? Yay or nay? People who tend to either love them or hate them.
I love them.
I
don't
love them.
the smell.
Yeah, there's that.
This is
Yep.
welcoming smell.
All right, I'm going to add some little dots of
So
red.
I think we need to burn some
Oops.
candles.
Little dots
We
of
can put
red
this
down
candle
here.
next to it.
And just let those
Eat it,
bleed
the
out a
smell.
little bit.
Both of these plugs. Ooh, that looks beautiful. Look at that.
So we're going to let
So
those,
talented. Whoa.
as are you, Miss Brooke.
Well, I can't paint them.
We'll see about that. She says she can't paint. Ah,
Well,
all right.
also that.
So here we go. There is 2 leaves. I've got a bunch more to do over here. I'm going to do those myself off camera. Thank you for the people who hung in here with me during the dropping of the camera and all the things. back on. Edie says she lost. Donna, thank you for enjoying it over quite a few weeks now here, right? That we worked on this. Break your projects down, make them, fun and into steps. Everybody can do little steps. And if you only have 20 minutes a day to create, well, create for 20 minutes. So I'm going to keep working at this, and I'm going to show you pictures of it when it's finished. I will probably add some wheat stamping in here. I do want to bring this over to look at this leaf. Where is it? Where are you? This guy. There we go. Isn't that looking cool? I mean, that is just the first layer now. But the way the red and the greens, and I just think they're beautiful fall leaves. And the thing to doing it is just, again, not getting too bossy, just letting the paint do what it does and encouraging it along. So I am going to say goodbye now. Goodbye, Edie and Donna and everybody who joined today. Oh, Deborah, good to see you. Perfect project for today. Just a laid back kind of a pumpkin making afternoon. So I'm going to end the broadcast. Thank you so much for being here. See you next Saturday. I'll be back sooner than that with some special projects. So stay tuned to my page and let's have fun. Bye, guys.